Now, when we look at, when we try to understand this, if you get on YouTube, YouTube will have you scared of everything. You gotta be careful of the stuff you receive and listen to all the end time stuff. And some people are just fear mongers. They scared of everything. They don't have a faith in God, so they have a faith in destruction and doom, and they'll scare you. Now we're supposed to be concerned but not fearful. Amen. But there is an agenda, and the agenda is not what you think it is, because we've been trained that the agenda is for everybody, but it's really not. Amen. There's a specific people that is designed for, and we need to get into that. We need to understand that. Amen. Now, I'm gonna show you some things tonight, and I told you all I have to teach this way for a while, because I recognize I'm talking to my people. I recognize that. I'm not trying to. If others get offended, that's on them. But it's not. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you if you want to receive the truth. But if you don't want to receive it, then I take it as we not talking to you. It's like family talking. Because I understand the gospel. The gospel. Everybody can be included. Everybody can be saved. But there is something happening specifically to us that for some reason nobody wants us to speak to us. Collectively, they want us to include everybody. When we talk to us, we got to include gays, and we got to include other ethnic groups. And when the Mexicans meet, they don't include us. And when the Italians meet, they don't include us. And they call it the Italian community, Italian American community, Mexican American community. They don't be inviting us in. The LGBT. They don't talk about us. They don't invite us. But every time we come together, we must always include everybody in our situation to make them feel comfortable. And it's like, why is it that why y'all got to be in our stuff? Why can't we speak to our people? Because it's our people who's getting choked out, shot 137 times. It's our people who has this self-hatred that they murder one another. And because we keep trying to include everybody, we're not speaking directly to our people. And if any other group or race was out here living the way we're living, and on the bottom in every category, you would call it a genocide. But we are being genocided, and nobody's even talking about it because it's us. And so if nobody else is going to talk about it, then we must talk about it. Amen. So I agree that there are a lot of things that we need to do, but first comes enlightenment. And with that, everything springs from that. You can't help folks that's blind, that don't see it. No matter how much good things you try to do, if people are blind, they're not going to change. You hear what I'm saying? So the goal is to wake them up with the truth, to push the truth as much as they push the lie, so that people can wake up. Are y'all there? Now, so this depopulization is, of course, some people call it Agenda 21. There's a lot of different names for this, but it's just eugenics. It's the same movement that was in the conception after slavery, that they conceived to sterilize, to depopulate, to control the numbers of black people. That's what they did right after slavery, because when they couldn't use you no more the way they wanted to, well, the next thing is to get rid of you. So they wanted to get rid of us. And so they came up with one of the things that they leave out of history. History is a total lie. It's more of a lie. I told my wife, I said, they didn't even tell you that Memorial Day was started by black people. They didn't even tell you that. We've been celebrating. It was 250. It was a group of black people, community, that went and dug up 257 soldiers that was thrown in a grave, in a mass grave. They were Union soldiers, fought against slavery. They was thrown in the grave, and those black people took and got out everybody in that ground, every 257 bodies, and individually buried them. And that was where Memorial Day came from. And they never even tell you, it wouldn't even give you that. They wouldn't even show your humanity in that we were the ones remembering. Come on. So it's all a lie. Most of it, the majority of it. And that's the reason why we walk around like we don't have any esteem about ourselves, because we don't know we invented all this stuff. We don't know that we are the most copied, we are the most desired, but yet we look like on TV the most ratchet, the most crazy. because that's the programming to keep us from knowing who we are. Because if we ever figured it out, you wouldn't be able to use me no more, and I won't fill up your jails, and I won't smoke your black and miles, and I won't drink your bad bird, and I'm not going to live in your ghettos, and you're not going to control my woman. Say amen. And you're not going to railroad my sons from middle school to prison. That's what it is. So therefore, if you wake these people up, they literally cripple the economy just by them stopping sinning. So they don't want you to stop sinning. Now, so let me get into this. All right. First, before I get into this, I want to set it up a little bit. What I'm going to talk about. Well, I won't tell you everything I'm going to talk about, but I want to talk about something that happened that is paralleling what the American is going, the African American is dealing with after Jim Crow. During Jim Crow, not slavery, but Jim Crow. The Jim Crow era is exactly the era of apartheid in South Africa. It was the same oppression. And the whites in South Africa were more brutal and more open. They weren't more brutal, they were just more open. Amen. They wasn't as politically correct. They would speak what they felt and say it right out. Amen. And it wasn't like this white American who lies and smile like they try to help you and killing you and destroying you through eugenics and telling you to get your tubes tied and sterilizing you. By telling you, girl, you can't have no more children. You shouldn't be having on babies. You need to sterilize. And that was the trick, really, to be honest. We didn't know there was a sterilization campaign. That's what it was about. It was about causing young black women in the prime of their baby-making years to make a lifelong decision to end that. Because I don't want no more children. Because they told you having too many children became a taboo. As if you some type of lazy country welfare recipient that don't want nothing, but they understood they was trying to depopulate, so they started talking you into sterilization, and then they start talking you into abortions. The whole goal is to take your numbers down because they're afraid of you growing outgrowing them. You hear? That's why we're on the decline. That's why we are genocided right now as a race, because everything that has been done, the elitists. When I say they, I'm talking about the elitists. I'm talking about the government. Yeah. See, we have a case against the government because this was all law. Yeah. They legally done what they done to us, and therefore the government. So when I say they, I'm talking about the guilty government. Amen. And whoever was over that part of that, which just happened to be white folk over that. But we talking about the government, you got what I'm saying? So the goal was to depopulate. Now, if you look, everything that blacks are into is designed to decline your numbers. It's all about declining your numbers. That's why they don't care about black death. They don't care about crib death for black folk. They don't care about our infant rate mortality. They don't care about anything going. They don't care about depopulation of our communities. They don't care about the deaths when we kill one another. None of that's concerned. They don't care when others kill us. They don't care. Why? That's the goal. The goal is to get rid of. Now that we can no longer physically use you, the goal is to get rid of you. Amen. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And so everything that we're into is designed to get rid of us. That's the reason why television is a propaganda campaign to make us live reckless with our lives, to make us copy reckless behavior. And so the point I'm trying to make is that everything that has been done to kill or control or push down our numbers as a people. And the reason why we are so quiet about it and we don't really understand it is because everybody always knew that if you give a black Negro some money, he'll sell his people out. And that's what's happened. Our black people have sold us out. Our leaders have sold us out. Let me show you one of the great sellout. Many of them did it. Even Martin Luther King, many of them did it. But Jesse Jackson, when Jesse Jackson was against abortion at first, he was against abortion until he ran for president. When he was running for president, he had to switch. He got that money from Planned Parenthood. And he switched from being against abortion to being for abortion. That sold us out. That meant that let the eugenicists come in our community and begin to depopulate us, based upon our leaders selling us out. Most black preachers are in the bed with Planned Parenthood. That's why they never preach against abortion. They never preach against fornication, because fornication is what's fueling abortion. See, people that have marriages usually don't abort their children. Married people don't really abort. It's the ones that's doing fornication, that having these babies out of wedlock. They the ones aborting their kids. Amen. And it's a lot of Christian women aborting their children because they want to escape the shame that they thought they were supposed to be living righteous, but they was really out there living wrong, and they abort their child. That's happening in the church. So the pastors are in the bed with the abortionists because they never preach against abort. They never preach against fornication that fuels abortion. Now you see why why they pay Beyonce so much to shake her butt and draw lust out of you, and they pay this crazy demon-possessed girl Nicki Minaj so much to be lustful, so that these young girls can look at and get over-sexualized, and Miley Cyrus and all these overly sexualized people, so your daughters can sit there and look at that and think, my job is to please a man. That's why they pay so much for these video chicks for they bust to fall out of the screen on every video, so these young girls can think sex, and these men, they're going to get pregnant. When they get pregnant, it's going to fuel the abortion. And with that abortion comes the curse of shedding innocent blood. And y'all don't want, nobody wants to deal with that. And that's why we stand down, because we keep shedding innocent blood. But the goal was depopulation in the first place. Are y'all there? Now, so I want to show you that's the goal. Say that's the goal. Now let's not stop getting it twisted that there are some benevolent people that want to see the black race come up. Stop it. You got to get that out of your mind. Stop it. There's nobody on this planet that wants to see us come out of this ghetto, this socio sewer that we in. Nobody. They'll take a couple of us because we run well, or we dance, or we sing for them, and they'll take a couple of us that perform for them, and they'll take them out and use you as a poster child. But the majority of us, they don't want us to ever come out of this. Come on, listen to me now. I'm trying to, are y'all hearing what I'm saying? The majority, they don't ever want us to come out of this. And this is why the laws were placed the way they are in government, to keep us in this state. Now, people say, well, we need to blame ourselves. Yes, some of it is us. Y'all know I teach that. It's not some of it is us. But the problem is that there's a system that you haven't told me about that's working against me that I don't even know it's there. That's the problem. Now, I know I'm walking into the system doing wrong, but I don't understand this system was designed for me to go this way. Yeah, I'm selling dope, but there was a system put in place to cause my neighborhood to have high unemployment because they took the businesses out with white flight, took the money out of the hood when white people ran because black people were moving in. They took it out to the suburb, redlined, which means devalue the property of the black area so that businesses will not plant businesses in that areas, so there's no economic power, so people resort to things in poverty. Now, just to say Negroes is out here doing wrong because they want to do wrong is really a deceptive theory. Because when we were coming up, we learned what hustling was, and hustling wasn't doing wrong. When we were young, hustling was going over to the Kroger's and carrying bags to the car. That was hustling. Hustling was getting, when I was real young, we was getting cans and bottles because you was too young to get a job, so you done what you could do. Now, do you mean to tell me that if young men that was out there already willing to work, you had, when they turned 16, there was economic jobs waiting on them? You think they would have walked right into a job versus going and risk selling dope? But when we turn 16, all of a sudden, the economics are not there. But it may be there for one, two, maybe even three. But it wasn't there for us collectively. So they always say, well, look at him. He did it. Yeah, it was there for him. But what about the 2,000 that live in the ghetto in that one area? What about them? Now that was a created condition. Oh, y'all got it. That's a created condition because I put you in poverty by taking away what I know builds wealth, which is family. I pay you for your sin and your fornication, and I take the man out of the equation, but the man ain't gonna leave the area. But I make a situation where I allow white people to get these loans, that was called FHA loans, that they could go into the suburbs and get land and buy houses for government-backed loans at 3% interest. And blacks could not get those. That was illegal for us to get them at the time. And that's how they built the middle class. While we was always been locked out of the middle class. So because we couldn't get those jobs, we had to move where we could afford. So now they look at you and say, well, this black man can't take care of his family. But you created the situation by not allowing the black family to get the same loans that they was getting. Do you see how the situation is created? Now, you say the black man can't take care of his family. But neither could the white man before you gave him. You gave him wealth. Y'all there? So now let's supplement the black family by the whole thing is depopulation. Depopulation. We're going to supplement the black family by giving the woman all the benefits for being unmarried. And what that will do is that will keep the perpetual cycle. And these are the liberal policies that you Negroes vote Democrat every time, and they're the one that came up with this stuff. They came up with this chicken in every pot by giving you welfare but putting stipulations on it to destroy your home. Now, do you see, yes, we're failing, but did you see the system? No, you didn't know it was a system right there. See, when you was growing up as a child, you didn't know why men wasn't in the house. You didn't know that. If you grew up in the hood, you didn't know why. Now, some guys might have been living in the house with their women, but you didn't know why the majority of your friends' daddies wasn't in the house. You thought, what were you told? Niggas don't want to take care of their kids. That's what you were told. So that's what we believed as young kids growing up. What we didn't know, there was a system in place that did not deal with the fornication, but paid for the fornication by the fornication was paid for by the destruction of the home. So now you have a whole generation of men who's been kicked to the side as if they're not important in an environment where you know the money ran out of the inner city with white flight. There were no businesses there except the businesses of the corner stores that prey on black people. You got a whole generation of men that I know that you told them they can't even legally be with their women. And then you asked us now, how did we get in this condition? Y'all Negroes, I'll never go for that. You ought to never go for that. You ought to never go. I told y'all that would be like you beating me up all day for 10 years, and then you look at me later on and ask and get mad at me for the scars I got. You did that. I didn't beat myself up. You created this condition. And you wonder why we can't get on. Why? Because what we're living now is the end result of that conditioning of destruction of the family that was done by the government. Are y'all there?
Pastor Darby taught that according to Galatians 6:6, if you are receiving from a ministry, then you are obligated to sow back into that ministry. we ask that you prayerfully consider sowing into this ministry.